Let's take a loop now at how we could use break. Imagine that we're in a tall hotel and we want to get off an elevator on the 27th floor, and I'll say there's 73 floors. Feel free to pick a different floor for yourself and a number of floors for your hotel. So I'll give a message for all of us that we are looking for the 27th floor. So we will use a loop, and we know that there's a maximum of 73 floors in this hotel. So we'll use a for loop as we go up the elevator or the stairs. I'll say int floor number or int floor num, and I'll initialize it at 0. I guess it's up to you for the classic argument. If the ground floor is floor 1 or floor 0, I'll call it floor 0. Floor num, as long as it is less than or equal to 73, we're still okay. We're still in the hotel. And we want to bump up floor number by 1 every time. So floor num plus plus for the update. I'll check out and make sure this works okay, and have a message that we are on whatever floor we're on right now, which is floor num. Floor num will go from 0 all the way to 73. So we'll take a look and see if this loop works out all right. Test it out, and we start off on floor... Oh, don't need that colon. It does look a little silly with the pound symbol and the colon. All right, we start off on floor 0, and we go all the way to floor 73. But we want to get off the elevator or leave the stairs on the 27th floor and not continue looping. We want to get out of this loop entirely once we find the 27th floor. So we'll check to see if we are on the 27th floor. So if floor num equals 27, we're done. There's no need to keep looping because we found our floor. We can do this with a break statement. I'll put a message in here first to let everyone know that we are getting off the elevator or getting out of the stairway. And then the statement break. That will break us out of the entire for loop. There will be no more looping after this because we don't need to. We found what we were looking for, the 27th floor. So after break, we will head right down to the brace that ended this for loop. Check it out. There it is. Once we get to floor 27, floor num equals 27, and so we break out of the loop. Another strategy we might use is continue. That's when we want to end one trip through the loop, but keep on looping with further trips or iterations. So I'm going to set up a for loop that will count from 0 to 9. So I'll say int I equals 0 to initialize it. The test or condition, as long as I is less than 10, we want to keep going, and we'll update with I++. Again, remember to separate all those with semicolons. And I'm going to print out the value of I. So I'll say that I equals in quotation marks and then display I. I'll make sure this is working as I expected. And it is. I is 0 all the way to 9. And we're going to wave at penguins every single time we go through this loop. So we'll make a note for ourselves that we're waving at the penguins for the whatever time. Maybe the penguins are waving back. So when we run through this loop, when I is 0, we're waving for the 0 time, for the 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. Every trip through this loop, or every iteration, we are getting a message that we are waving at the penguins. Let's say, though, that maybe on our 6th trip through, we don't want to wave at the penguins. So if I is 6, we'll make a little message here that we're going to leave this one trip through the loop early. And we won't wave at the penguins. We'll say continue. This won't break us entirely out of the loop. It will just send us to the end of the loop and keep on looping with the next iteration. A reminder, every time we're going through the loop so far, we wave at the penguins. But now that we run this, now you see when I is 6, we'll leave this one early and there's no waving at the penguins because the rest of that iteration or trip through the for loop is skipped. However, we don't break entirely out of the for loop. We go back for more looping if there's more looping to do. Break gets you entirely out of the loop. Continue just stops this one trip through the loop. Here's an example of using a loop to create a string. We'll have a variable here called bunch of letters and initialize it to emptiness. We're going to need a scanner object because we're going to have users give us the individual things, characters, although we'll take them in as strings, that we're going to put in. Of course, we're going to have to import, and I'll bring that in, and if you've seen my videos, you know I like to have these import statements down by the start of the class. That's totally up to you, not at the very, very top, but that's not a big deal. So I'll set up a for loop. I'm going to get 8 characters, although they'll be strings. You can do whatever you want. So I'll have int j equals 0. As long as j is less than 8, we'll keep looping, and we'll go up by 1 every time, j++. Again, an initialization, a test or a condition, and then the update of the variable. So I'll inform the users what we're trying to do. I'm going to ask them to enter a character. Although truthfully, since we're going to use next line, it's going to come in as a string. J is the counter variable, so every time this loop runs, j will go up from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. And I'll have a variable called input equals keyboard.nextLine. And then I'll take my string, bunch of letters, and do plus equals input. So we'll keep adding characters together. Actually, concatenating is what we're doing here. Whatever bunch of letters was before, we'll add another string to it, which I'm going to do an example where it's just one letter at a time. And when the loop concludes, I'll display what bunch of letters is. All right. Oh, got 2 colons there. Don't really need 2 colons. I'll get rid of one of them. Try this again. All right. I'll enter in M-A-C-A-R-O-N-I. And they all come together to make macaroni. So another example of how we can use a loop. For loops, again, are very handy when you know exactly how many times you want the loop to go.